Welcome to the Transition Drill Podcast. I'm your host, Paul Pantiani. I appreciate you taking the time to watch. So let's get into this. So let's get this going.
Yeah, let's do it.
Tell me what you want to talk about. No, seriously, this is my podcast. Wait, no, it's your podcast.
You tell me what you need from me. You told me this was a nude photo shoot, so I just showed up and I was like, okay.
Well, then why do you still have clothes on?
You're right. I should take them off. I usually charge extra for that, people. So.
Oh, okay. Well, then check's in the mail.
Okay, good.
So, something I'd like to know about. Bench pressing underwater.
Yes.
How did that come about and what was that like?
Bench pressing underwater was a very interesting concept. At the time, I was training for a 4-mile swim in the Hudson. So I was in the water a lot and my water competency was pretty high. You know, I was doing breath holds. I was doing everything. I said, well, let's work out underwater. And then probably like 2 days later, a YouTube group called Dude Perfect posted a video of them bench pressing underwater and they were using rubber plates. And they're like, you know, he got a rep of 405. And I'm thinking 405 rubber plates is probably like 240 pounds underwater. It's not actual weight. So I said,
because of the buoyancy of the rubber plates?
Exactly. Yeah. So my concept was using steel plates to bench press underwater, how it would affect the weight. Would it be buoyant underwater using steel plates? So that's what we executed.
Well, it was definitely interesting to watch. And
Thank you.
The one thing that I've found from it was the buoyancy of you or people trying to stay on the bench while you're doing it.
For sure.
Has had the impact.
It depends on your body fat level because body fat floats a lot more than lean muscle because lean muscle will actually sink. But I think I'm probably 17, 18, 19% body fat. So I was just floating the whole time. So I had to weight myself down with an additional 45-pound plate and we made it happen.
How'd the swim go?
Swim was brutal. Thought I was going to die. There were 2 times in there where I thought I was not going to make it. But we did have patrol boats just kind of looking out for us. You know, there's 140 swimmers and like 6 patrol boats.
Is that the memorial swim that they do for the military?
Yes, it is. It's a Navy SEAL GI Go Fund swim, Navy SEAL swim. They have it every year. This is their 3rd year running. And I got the invite probably sometime in March, but I didn't really take it seriously because I was, adapting to life outside of the military, which is very hard, still adapting to it. And I didn't take it seriously, but as the time came, I hit up my friend Ken. I said, Ken, will you swim with me? You know, Ken and I, we're not swimmers. We don't have any high level of skill in the water by any means, but we started training. I did open ocean swims. I did laps in the pool. But I never swam that distance, even in practice. You know, I just got in the ocean to teach and test my water competency in open ocean waves, which is another beast. And I got in the pool and swam probably 30, 40 laps just to kind of get myself used to the motion. And swimming is like, I could swim all day, but when you put me in the ocean, I can't swim all day, you know. Swimming's very repetitive. It's very low impact. And once you find that steady heart rate, you can just pretty much keep moving, swim for 2 hours, get something to eat, some energy, keep swimming.
And it was a 4-mile swim?
4 mile. It was 3.78 miles. Yeah.
And they just did a similar one for their inaugural in San Diego recently.
I believe so. Yeah.
Same organization or a different?
I think it was a different organization. Yeah. But it was, I don't think it was 4 miles. I think it was around a pier and back or something like that. I may be wrong. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, they did have another one.
Going way back, where'd you grow up?
Alabama, Florence, Alabama, small town.
What kind of population we talk about when you say small town?
I'm not sure exactly of the population, but probably 13, 14,000 people is really small. And if you break it down a lot smaller, I grew up in St. Florine. So you have Florence, which is a huge one, and St. Florine is right outside of Florence. And there's probably 1,000 people there.
That is very small. Mm-hmm. Did you have military in your family?
My grandpa was an MP in the reserve, but I think there's like 1 or 2 pictures that I saw. I never had a previous interest in the military. And my uncle went in the Coast Guard, and I remember trying to video chat with him on dial-up. And we would get one frame like every 3 minutes. It was really bad. But yeah, I just remember seeing him over there in Kuwait still never piqued my interest. I always said, I'd never go in the military. It wasn't something that I considered at all.
Through high school, what was your anticipation for adult life?
Alabama has the town that I grew up in has this really small town vibe. If you moved away, people tend to shun you. If you do anything out of the ordinary, word travels fast in small towns. So I always wanted to be accepted. I never considered moving away. I was always just satisfied with what I was doing, which is the wrong mindset to have, in my opinion. And going through high school, originally I was interested in electrical technology. I used to mess with people's car stereos and put speakers in and mess with their headlights and everything. So that was my interest in high school.
Yeah. When you say they would shun you for moving away,
mm-hmm.
So would have joining the military be considered moving away or leaving the town?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So not a big contingent of people joining the military from your town?
Not at all. No, I think there were 3 people that I knew personally that had gone to the military. I graduated with 90-something people, still a small class. I think 2 of them went to the military. They're Jacob and then Jake. Yeah, I remember the names. Yep.
So a small minority from a very small community left your town
yes.
to join the military.
Yes. Yep.
When you got out of high school,
mm-hmm.
what were you doing? Was college on your radar?
Yep. I went to college on a Pell Grant, which is a grant from the government to lower income families. And I didn't really know what I want to do, but the small town mindset told me that you have to graduate high school and you have to either get a job or go to college. And I said, I wasn't ready to get a big boy job yet. So I said, I'll go to college. And I started going for electrical technology. And every time I would go to college, it just felt like a nightmare, I was falling behind in the classes. I was not really showing up. I was not motivated to go. It was just something that was constantly lingering over me because I knew I had schoolwork pretty much 24/7, either in class or they would assign us stuff online. And I remember a few times my mom was so anxious about me not completing my schoolwork that she would do some of it for me. And yeah, that was my experience with college.
What did your parents want for you?
My parents, they didn't really, obviously they wanted me to succeed, but they never really said, hey, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? They just they were real good about letting me find out what I liked and deciding on what I really wanted to do. And I started, the entrepreneurial thing, I feel like was instilled in me. And I always had the interest of selling my own things, like, booking people to install their stereos was something I loved doing. And I had a friend, Sam Gaskin, still a really good friend of mine. Throughout high school, we would install stereos together. And he'd say, oh, I'll put the tweeters in, you put the stereo in. And there was a certification that I really wanted. It's called MECP, Mobile Electronics Certification Professional, which qualified you in the job world to get a job as an installation specialist. And it was something that I really, really wanted at the time. I said, Mom, it's $75 to take the test, including the workbook. Will you pay for it? This is something I want to do. And she paid for it. She took me to the testing center and I failed it. And yeah.
Leaning back to what you were saying before, was it just a lack of application in the sense of not studying?
Yeah, it really was. I'm a firm believer now, if you apply yourself to something, that you can accomplish anything. And back then I was just not motivated. I didn't even go to the gym. I didn't even go to the gym back then. I was just, compared to what I am now, I was lazy. I was just satisfied. Didn't really want to reach the next level. Didn't want to improve. Didn't want to do anything really.
Almost kind of sounds like it's a negative byproduct of being from a small town where kind of spreading your wings and growing isn't encouraged.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, if you, in high school, the mindset of if you set out on a different journey other than other people, you were going to get shunned. And I'm not talking about my family or my close friends. It was just people that knew of me. Like in high school, definitely church was one of the most judgmental places that I have ever been to, still to this day. And if you were different, it's not easy to be accepted.
What was the projected or path that would have been expected for you staying in that town?
Graduating high school, getting a job or going to college, and getting a job after college. So basically, it all ends up to getting a job.
But staying local.
For sure, yeah. Yep.
So then what drew you to the military?
I just had this conniption, I guess that's the correct word for it. And I pretty much just woke up one day and my friend said, "Hey, I'm going to the Naval recruiting station. I'm going to join the Navy." And I was thinking,
come with me because I don't want to do this by myself.
Exactly. That's what he said. And initially I was like, okay, well, good luck with that. He said, "Why don't you come hang out? We can get something to eat or something after." I said, "Oh, okay, sure." So originally at park, he texted me, he said, "Come inside." And he really wasn't trying to get me to join. He didn't really care regardless because he knew he was going to join and leave and whatnot. But he said, "Come inside." So I went inside. I sat down in the recruiting station. So all these big pictures of the Navy and Navy SEALs and SWIC and dive and EOD, and the recruiter didn't say anything to me. Usually,
because the posters say it all.
Exactly. The recruiter, he didn't say anything to me, which is a complete contrast from the different recruiters. The Marines are like, "Hey, you're a piece of shit. You need to join the Marine Corps and excel your life," or whatever they say. And I just felt welcomed in the Navy Recruiting Center. And I was looking on all the posters I really liked the bell bottoms, the dress blue bell bottoms. I was like, "Dang, those look nice." And
I think that's the first time I've ever heard that.
Really?
Yeah.
I like them because it's not typical. They're really, really old uniforms, but they are made current. So, I mean, they're obviously they don't use the same uniforms from like the 1900s. But the look of them is inspired from the older sailor uniform.
So you like tradition?
I like that. I love the aspect of tradition. And when I started to leave, the recruiter said, "Hey, what's your name?" I said, "My name's Austen." And he said, "Here, take this, consider the Navy." And it was a Navy SEAL pamphlet. And I said, "Okay." And at the time, my parents were going through a tough divorce. It was tough on me. It was really tough on them. First time I ever saw my dad shed tears was during the divorce, which was really hard on me. And my mother was moving out, and I just had this sense of independency where it's time to kick it into high gear. I lived with my parents. My parents paid my cell phone bill, paid my car insurance. The only thing I paid for was gas in the car and food if I wanted to go out to eat. And I just had this mindset shift that day. I looked at the pamphlet. I got on the dial-up internet at home. I Googled Navy SEAL and kind of started reading what these guys were about. And a day and a half later, I had made the decision I was going to go back in the recruiting office and say, "Sign me up, get me out of here by any means." And that's what I did.
Do you come from a big family?
Not really. It was initially my mother and my dad, and then I had a brother. He's 15 months older than me. So we were constantly in competition with everything. The same clothes, same, sports, whoever's, better at sports or basketball or whatever. And besides that, we lived pretty close to my grandparents. And other than that, I would see my other family cousins maybe once, twice, every 3 or 4 months.
You said previously that the town may have shunned you for whatever reason, but you always felt support from your family.
Yeah, for sure.
When you made that decision that, hey, I'm leaving, I'm going in the military, did you get support from your family?
My dad, no, because he said, "I don't know why you're doing that. You're going to leave. You're going to go overseas. You're going to get killed." He just was not fond of the idea. And I told my mom, and she thought I was because I'm a jokester. I joke about a lot of stuff. I push it to the next level. April Fool's stuff, I push it to the next level. I won't say April Fool's until 3 or 4 days later. So she thought I was joking. And I said, "Mom, join the Navy." She said, "Oh, okay.
Did you get the ultimate irony of signing up around April Fool's?
No, I didn't. I think I actually, maybe
because that would have been a cool
maybe
trick to play.
Maybe she did think it was an April Fool's because I left 7 months later. I left on December 3rd and April, May. So April, May is when I dipped in. So maybe she did think it was an April Fool's joke, So she was kind of like, okay, cool, whatever. Pretty sure she thought I was joking. And my dad took it seriously. He's like, I don't know why you're doing that. You're going to go overseas. You're going to get killed. I don't want to lose you, all this other kind of stuff. Just trying to talk me out of it. And I said, well, too late. I had already gone in there. First of all, I went in there and I depped in without telling anybody.
What year is this?
2013.
And how old were you at the time?
21.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'd signed the papers and everything. And I was going to the military entrance processing station, MEPS, in like 2 weeks. And from there, I just had this kick into overdrive. You know, the military gave me something to look forward to. I knew I was going to go and I knew I was going to change my life, and I knew it was going to be a complete shift from what I was doing, which was basically nothing. At the time I was cutting grass full time and making pizzas, which I didn't tell that story, how I got to doing that, but I'll tell it here shortly. And see, I'm plugging your podcast so people will listen. I appreciate it.
Yeah. I'm hoping there's a direct connection between like making pizzas while you're mowing grass.
I wish there was, but I will tell you, when I dropped out of college, I said, this is not for me. Pretty much the only reason I was going is because I was getting money, I was getting paid for it. Plus I was getting additional money for books and supplies, and which was good to me. I'd get another $300 or $400. It was like a gold mine, because money for me was very scarce.
That money was supposed to go to college stuff, though, not in your pocket.
It paid for my books, but I had another $300, $400 that I could spend. I went to Arby's a few times.
5 for 5.
Exactly. Well, I had a friend that worked there, and his name
5 for 1,
5 for 3. So we would get 5 sandwiches for $3. Pretty sure that's why he got fired a few months later, but he would hook us up, and we were there almost every day. So when I dropped out of college, and I said, okay, well, I need to find a job. So I started applying around. I applied for the fire department. I applied for police department, and then I applied for the park and recs department for the city of Florence, which is like, you don't need any experience. You don't need any type of past work history or anything. So I got called in by a guy named Doug. Doug was probably 65, 70 at the time. And my mom, before I left for the interview, I called her. I was like, hey, Mom, what I say in this interview? She said, before you walk out, ask, when do you start? She was always a proponent of saying those words. Ask, when do I start? And so I went in, I interviewed, I was dressed up, I had a collared shirt on, khakis, church shoes on, Sunday's best. And I walk in, and all these people were just greasy and oily, had grass all over themselves, jeans, t-shirts. And Doug said, well, why are you so dressed up? This is the park and rec. And I was, well, sir, this is my first job interview, to be honest. And I'm kind of nervous. And he's asked me a few questions, really generic questions. And he said, do you have any questions for me? I said, well, when do I start? He said, I'll tell you what. He said, since I like you, and since you asked me, when do you start? I'll let you go get your analysis done, and you can start, in 2 weeks. I'll give you a call. We'll develop your schedule. So in 2 weeks, I was cutting grass for the city of Florence, park and rec. And around that time, I think I had worked there for like a year. And that's when I had depped in. I graduated at 18, went to about a year and a half of college, 19, 20. And then when I was 20, I started working for the park and rec. And then I depped in when I was 21. When I depped in, I quit my job. And I was devoting all of the time, that 7 months that I had to ship out, towards training. Every day it was CrossFit. It was eating slices of pita bread and drinking some water, and it was going right into a lifting session. And in the evening, I would probably do a run. So I was crazy about 2 or 3 times a day I was working out.
Is that normal, that long of a waiting period before you actually deploy or
not at all
head off to boot camp?
No, not at all. What I had done was, my recruiter said, if you want to be Navy SEAL or any special warfare or special operations, push your ship date out as long as you can, so you can take these PST tests, the physical screening tests required for Spec Op or Spec War in the Navy. So when I went to MEPS, they checked my eyesight. They said, your eyes are bad. You don't qualify for Navy SEAL unless you get PRK or LASIK, which I couldn't afford. I said, okay, what's the next best thing? They said, Navy diver. I said, I'll take it. So they said, we recommend pushing out your ship date. We have a ship date leaving in September for your backup job, which was IT, informations technician, I think. And
kind of electronics related.
Kind of, sort of, but the Navy has a way of...
Not speakers and tweeters and subwoofers.
No, not at all. But the goal was to pick a job that I did not want to do to motivate and push me more to claim this diver contract. So as soon as I came back from MEPS, I started a strict regimen, and that was one of the times where I've been the most dedicated in my entire life, is training every single day, getting more fit and in shape. And for the next 7 months, I trained. I quit my job at the Park and Rec, and about 3 months later, I said, well, I need some money. I probably had $1,000 saved up. I made that money last, and a friend of mine had a pizza shop. I said, can I work here and make pizzas? And so I did. I was making pizzas in the afternoon for like 3 or 4 hours just for a little bit of get by money, and worked there until I shipped out.
Because pizzas fuel a exercising body.
Exactly. I wasn't eating the best food, because keep in mind, I had a lot of my money that I was spending went towards food. I would buy these little $1 packs of pita bread, or it was like a sandwich thin at Aldi. And after I trained, I would just cram 3 or 4 of them. I had no clue about nutrition. I just knew I needed to eat more, because at the time that I started training CrossFit, I was dropping weight like crazy. I said, this doesn't need to happen. So I started getting a lot better. I started learning and reading more stuff and learning the way my body works. And that's where I was really in tune with my workout schedule and my quantity that I was eating. I wasn't eating the best food, because I would go cram a buffalo pizza, with extra cheese on it at Stefano's, the pizza restaurant.
But you're still at that age where and we've all been there, you could pretty much eat just about whatever you want.
For sure.
And on the surface, it appears to have no negative impact on your fitness.
Yeah, for sure. Yep. I was eating Zaxby's. They had a lot of other things on the menu, wings, bread. They had these breads that when they took them off of a table, I would grab the rest of them. I would save them for the next day and eat them, because I knew that I needed carbs. That's pretty much all I knew. I didn't know anything about fats, proteins, micronutrients, nothing like that. I was just eating.
Now, before we go forward into your military career, you said something that hits home, and for me, you actually looked at law enforcement.
Yes.
Do you have law enforcement in your family?
My uncle got out of the Coast Guard, and he became a police officer. And then I'm not sure, his son is he lives with me, Braxton. He's he helps me produce and video. But he's now he was a detective, and now he works at I'm not sure what he does, but he was in lots of different law enforcement. And besides that, that's the only person in my family that was in law enforcement.
So really going towards service, military law enforcement was driven on your own. There really was kind of no history or lineage in your family for it.
Yeah, it was. And to be honest, when I initially applied, I was just applying because I needed a job, and I knew that I was capable of doing the things. There wasn't really a service aspect in there, because at the time I was just kind of, sounds selfish, but I was just worried about myself. Like, I need money, but I need a job. I need a way to it, to get money.
But how you were raised, in the sense of your community, that wasn't encouraged per se.
No, not at all. It was, I think there were 1 or 2 people that graduated high school and went into law enforcement, but I never asked them, never talked to them about their job or anything.
So you enter the Navy. Mm-hmm. At that time, were you thinking that this was going to be your career, or were you thinking short term?
I got the intel. Someone told me that was in the net. I believe it was my recruiter. He said, now, we already recruited you, so we don't care how long you stay in, but you can make this a career. There's plenty of college benefits, or if you want to get out and do something else, you can do that. He said, so never lock yourself into a contract longer than what you think you will be happy fulfilling. So originally I signed for a 6-year, which was ND. I took the PSTs, and I snagged those numbers. and I became really good and very fit. And I qualified. When I qualified, they said I was one of the top placements in the East Coast in the United States. And yeah, I didn't look at it like, oh, I'm going to do 20 years for sure. And I never recommend somebody going in and when they first start and say, I'm going to do 20 years, because you could have a complete mind shift. You know, you could love the job and everything, but what if something unexpected happens, which causes you to have a job shift? You know, I mean, it can happen. It can happen very fast. It can happen to anybody.
Sounds like you've read my intro on the podcast.
Possibly.
But maybe. You bring up a great point, because this podcast is geared at law enforcement and military. Mm-hmm. The one thing that I've told people that the military does that kind of aids that is they do their enlistments at a set period of time, 4 years, 6 years. So it forces you to reevaluate your life, as opposed to government or law enforcement work where it's, hey, 20, 25, 30 years. There is no reevaluation period unless you force yourself to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I feel like, you know, it's kind of like a one track in law enforcement where, okay, you've started and you have 20 years left to go to get the retirement or to get the benefits, or 25 years. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure it's 20 years, right? Most departments.
It depends. There's no set standard. Unlike being in the Navy, across the country, every agency has something different. It could be a state requirement, a county requirement. So,
okay. But yeah, in the military, you have these blocks of time where, okay, you'll do 2 years here and you can either get out or reenlist. And then, okay, if you reenlist, you have 3 years here and then you can get out and reenlist. So like you were saying, there are blocks of time, which causes you to reevaluate your decision.
So going in, you were just looking at your first block. It was 6 years. You were going to be a Navy diver.
Yes. I wasn't even looking at the future, to be honest. I didn't care about where I'd end up. I didn't care how long I was going to, I wasn't looking at that. I'm not a good long-term planner, and I've never been good at that. So just initially I was looking at going in and passing the requirements. Yeah.
You're now in the Navy.
I got out in November.
Well, no, what I mean is you've gone into the Navy.
Gotcha. Yeah.
You're headed towards Navy diver, but you ended up being a master at arms. Mm-hmm. Where did that transition occur?
So when I was in boot camp, I had really tough infection. And I tell people this all the time. They're like, no, you didn't. I almost lost my leg. I had cellulitis.
Do you need both legs to be a Navy diver?
Yes.
Okay.
Unless you get approved by a board, and that comes very later. We haven't stepped into those grounds yet. But I was in the hospital for a week and a half. Really bad case of cellulitis. I knew that something was wrong with my leg, because I had a fever. My lymph nodes were hurting. My lymph nodes I guess they're lymph nodes. Yeah. In your hip area, they were super sore, and I was just basically dead. No energy, fever of like 100, 203. I would wake up constantly sweating in boot camp, but I didn't tell anybody because I just wanted to graduate.
Right. And
I had pushed it so far to the limit where I was marching one day and my leg was throbbing so bad I couldn't continue. And so I dropped out of formation. I got yelled at for the first 1 or 2 minutes. I said, my legs. So they helped me back to the compartment. And when I looked at my leg, I couldn't even get my trousers up over my leg. So I pulled the trousers off. Of course, you got PT shorts on underneath, so don't get excited. And
that comes later.
I know. There was a swollen knee the size of a softball. And I was in disbelief. My petty officers were like in disbelief.
Was it related to an injury or something that had happened during training?
It was an infection. I guess I had scraped my knee, maybe going through the gun course or something like that, and it had gotten infected in the dirty compartment. And it was so bad that my whole leg was swollen. It would not bend. They gave me crutches, and they said, go to medical. So there I am at 2100 or 9 p.m. knocking on the medical door. It was a half mile that I had walked on these crutches on the icy. I just remember that like yesterday, just walking. The sense of being free and out of the compartment was keeping me level-headed, but I said, man, my leg is really messed up, and every time my heart beat, it would send a shooting pain through my leg. So I get to after my petty officer saying, "Holy shit," that's like looking at my knee, like that's bad. You need to go to which was getting me more scared because I had the opinions of others that they were saying, "Oh shoot, you're basically going to die because your knee's really bad." So I walked up to the medical, and there I am. I probably look like I don't know, what's the Christmas guy, the Yeti? What's his name?
The Abominable Snowman?
Abominable Snowman, yeah, because it was snowing, I was freezing, I had icicles in my nose, knocking on the door, and he came to the door. He said, "How can I help you?" I said, my knee's bad. Petty officer sent me here. So they sat me down on the table. He's like, "Holy shit, your knee is like," I got to call the commander. So they called the medical commander of the whole base. She comes in, she's like, "Holy shit." Like everybody was freaking out and was just making me freak out. So they sent me to the hospital. Doctor looks at it.
What were you seeing on your knee at this point?
It was just a big swollen ball. No pus, no anything yet.
Discoloration?
Yeah, it was red. It was super red, almost purple. And you can see a defined line where the red stopped, which is never good. It means the infection is spreading. So made to the hospital. The doctor looked at my knee and he's like, he just shakes his head all calmly. He's like, "This is not good." So they he said, "We're going to put you in the intensive care unit because we don't have any beds which was a complete lie. I was in the ICU because I needed it.
Trying to keep you calm.
Exactly. So they gave me some Motrin and everything to try to calm the fever down. They injected something into my leg. I don't know if it was a local anesthetic or I don't know what it was, but I was so tired and I was so in and out from the fever. I woke up and there were like 7 doctors, and I woke up because they were poking at my knee and it hurt. And they were just studying it and looking at it and everything. And I went to go have an MRI done and some more tests, and they said, "You have a very extreme case of, we think it's MRSA, which is methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus. It's a bad form of staph that cannot be controlled by the typical antibiotic."
Not something you want to hear.
No, not at all. And at this time, the previous night, they had drawn a purple marker around the infection, and they explained to me that the infection had spread so fast it was completely like 1 or 2 inches outside of that purple marker. So he said, "What we're going to do is we're going to give you an antibiotic called Zosyn. It's one of the most powerful. It's pretty effective against MRSA. But if it has gotten in your lymphatic system, then we're going to need to amputate your leg to prevent the infection from spreading across the entire body." And I remember at the time, it didn't click to me, but when he told me that, I had a TV with Facebook, and I was able to call my mom with the phone. I was just calling people and chatting with people. I said, "Mom, in the hospital, I feel great. They're giving me food, blah, blah, blah." I was just on that high of getting, to talk to my family again, whenever I wanted in the hospital.
So did it not even register that he said potentially they're going to have to take your leg?
Yeah,
Ignorance is bliss?
Exactly. I guess it was camouflaged by the fact that I was out of the recruit petty officer or RDC's eyesight, and I was more free, and I was getting hospital food, pretty much whenever I wanted it. I was getting like the things they take away from boot camp. I was getting like hospital pizza, like all this stuff. So I was on this high of like, oh man, this is actually kind of good. I can sit on here, I can chat with my friends, I can call my parents, whatever. But about 3 days later, it set in because I was hooked on the antibiotics, and every single day they would draw that circle. And they ended up, the last time they drew it, they just put a circle around my ankle and a circle around my thigh because the infection had spread so far at my leg. My leg was almost double the size of this leg. It was really bad. I wish I had pictures. I think there are photos in my medical record, but it was bad. I couldn't get up and go to the bathroom. I couldn't get up and walk. And it was a bad thing. I was in the hospital for a week and a half.
How did it end up? Obviously, you've got your leg, and
yes, I've got my leg now. We're good.
They gave it back to you.
Yes. So they Zosyn paired with another antibiotic, and they were shooting up local antibiotics pretty much every day, and they were giving me blood thinners so I wouldn't get a heart clog or a blood clot in my brain and everything. And all of a sudden, one morning we woke up and the infection was less. And they had already proved it wasn't in my lymphatic system. So they had already, 4 or 5 days later, they ruled out that they were going to have to take it out of my leg. But the option was cutting the infection out just so it wouldn't have any chance of spreading if the antibiotics didn't get to it. long story short, this has already been a long story about the hospital part. The infection started going down, and then next day down. And they were like, well, this is great. You know, the infection was completely taken over your leg, and now the Zosyn is helping out a lot. And it got to where it was the original softball again, which I was glad. I still couldn't hardly bend my knee or anything.
It's weird to think that getting back to softball size is a good thing.
Yes, for sure. And I had already told my mom, I called my mom, I said, hey, Mom, I'm probably going to lose my leg. And she thought it was another joke. But, you know, at the time, she kind of somewhat took it seriously because I was in boot camp. And every time I talked to her about it, she doesn't like to speak about it because I guess she was scared for me. But after getting well, I said, please send me back now. I want to graduate with my division. So it took them 2 days to process me out. I go back to recruit training center. And 2 days later, I saw my division graduating, and it was a terrible sight to see because they put me in a THU, temporary holding unit, in the recruit convalescent unit, which is like the place where you could stay to heal for broken bones and infection and stuff like that. I saw them walking out in their dress blues, and it was just, I got majorly depressed. And all the people that I've had grown to become friends with and work out with and push and motivate me, we're all leaving.
So this came very near the end of boot camp for you.
Yeah. It was, I was in boot camp for 9 weeks because we were on a 2-week hold because of the holiday period. And then that's when we met our petty officers at the end of that 2 weeks and when we officially started. So, yeah, I didn't get to graduate with my division. And at the time I wasn't that good at handling depression, anxiety. And there were a few, 2 weeks was a very dark place for me being in that recruit convalescent unit because everybody was depressed. It was not a good environment at all. But
you were more only there just because you had dropped behind your class and they couldn't just kind of stick you back in.
Well, and because my knee was healing, I had to get a cleared.
Oh, you hadn't been cleared yet?
I haven't been cleared. No, I was still on LLD, limited light duty, and that's what they call it in the Navy. And I had to be cleared for FFD, fit for full duty. And so I was in there, I was doing some rehab, and now exactly like you said, I was thinking the whole time, like, I'm not one of these people. I'm just in here for an infection. I'm just waiting for my knee to get better so I can bend it. All these other people had like cancers, diabetes, stress fractures, broken bones, broken necks, and it was just a very depressing place. I don't recommend anybody to go to RCU. But every Wednesday I was going to see this lieutenant, and probably like the second or third time I saw her, I said, please, LT, you have to clear me fit for full duty. I can't keep staying in the recruit convalescent unit. It's the most depressing place ever. Please. She's like, okay. She's like, bend your knee. So I was like, forced to bend, it hurt a lot, but I was faking like I was good. I just wanted to get out of THU. And she said, okay, cool. You're good. And it wasn't like she was breaking the rules. To her, it appeared that I was okay. So with FFD on my record, they didn't have a dive class that classed up because I was already out of the whole scheduling thing, and they put me across the road at the temporary holding unit. And that's where I became a dive scruff. I was a scruff for about 2 weeks.
And what's a scruff?
It is a pool tenant that basically adheres to whatever the instructors say. So the instructors would be there. All of the special divisions that were going through boot camp would be there, and you had the dive scruffs. They got the pull lanes out. They got the pull bricks out. They would stand watch. They would make coffee for the instructors. Basically, the instructors
Gopher.
Yeah. And,
politely.
Yeah. So there I was, they were making us PT. We would PT at the temporary holding unit. And keep in mind, like my knee I was in such pain every single day, but I had fit for full duty on my record, so I couldn't say anything about it. And I remember one time I was standing coffee watch, and 5:45 a.m., here come the instructors rolling in. You got EOD Master Chiefs, you got Navy SEAL lieutenants, you got all these high ranking and high, just these really, the instructors that have these tremendous accomplishments on their record. And there I am, a little E2 seaman recruit wearing this stupid ass helmet they gave me. It was purposely this huge steel helmet sitting there at attention at the coffee watch. And so, 2 or 3 came in, the normal, and then 3 more came in, and then 4 more came in. I was looking at my little 6-cup coffee pot. I was thinking, there's no way this coffee pot is going to hold up to all these military dudes. And, they poured cup after cup, and my job was
start giving shots of coffee.
Basically. But they were just getting these hefty cups. It was, they were doing a PST with the pre-buds guys. That's why all the instructors were over here. And I was thinking, oh shit, this coffee, this is not going to hold up. Well, lo and behold, you get like the 7th person in line. They pour the coffee and they bring it over there to my face, and they go like this, like shaking it in front of my face.
It's empty.
Basically. And he's like, why is there no coffee in my, they were just messing with me. Why is there no coffee in my coffee maker? I was like, my apologies, sir. I didn't expect this many people. And I had fresh coffee in there ready to go, but I just didn't want to turn it on because I didn't want to spill it on them. I was indecisive. So he's like, get on your, he's like, bear crawl. So I bear crawl. He said, give me 10 laps around the pool. So there I am, bear crawling around the pool with this helmet dripping over my face, just not seeing where I'm going. I bear crawl, come back sweaty.
Is everybody picturing Rick Moranis in Spaceballs, the size of that helmet?
Oh, okay. I've never seen Spaceballs. I wish I could share this with you right now.
Go watch it.
Okay.
That's our age difference. Don't worry about it.
Okay. How old are you? 31?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I'm 29.
See?
So come back, and my knee was just throbbing, like boom, boom, boom. He's like, you never let that coffee cup go empty again. You understand me? I was like, yes, instructor. So anyways, finally, the best news of my life back then. I got back to temporary holding unit. I was in there for 2 weeks, and they said, Alexander, you're fit for full duty. You're going to training service center, hop on the bus. I grabbed my sea bag. I hopped on the bus, and I was over at training service center. Complete change of environment. I had freedom to wear different socks if I wanted, which was huge. I got my cell phone. I was able to chat back and forth with my family. And a week and a half later, I classed up for dive. And I was holding in there really good. I mean, considering my knee, I was going on the runs. I was enjoying it. I was the class leader. Everything was great. And we got to man day, make a long story short. We got to man day, which is where they strap you up with twin 80s and a 10-pound weight belt. You have fins on, but you have to tread in the water. And I remember all of their names. You had a Kozlowskis, which was my main partner. He was the best swimmer. I was the best runner. You had a Fulcher. He was the worst swimmer. So Kozlowskis and I were going into the water. They said, hold on, let's switch this up. So they put me with Fulcher. And we go to the pool, dive check. So
you're the best swimmer going with the worst swimmer?
No, I'm the best runner. I'm the best land PT. And then Kozlowskis was the best swimmer. We're the 2 most in shape people in the entire class. And then you had Fulcher, which was the worst swimmer. And his name was Austen too. I said, we're going to put 2 Austins together. So 1, 2, 3, dive suit, question mission in the water. 1, 2, 3, look left, look right, look straight, look at the horizon. And then you enter the pool, came up, we were treading, we were going through these dive checks, and it was man day. So the instructors were splashing water in your face and everything. And I checked Austen. Everything was good. I turned around. He was checking all my straps. He was supposed to go under, and he was supposed to tap my head, dunk me. And I never felt the tap. So there I am just treading with this weight on, waiting 2-3 minutes roll by. And then I kind of treaded over and turned around, and I saw the instructor just sitting there, or just treading there, just waiting. He had the tanks on. He said, what are you looking at? Go ahead and check the instructors. They had, Austen had dropped on request behind me. So, and I didn't hear that going on because of all the noise and whatnot. So by that time, it was probably 6-7 minutes. That time I was in the water. I could not properly hold my head above the pool. So I grabbed the side of the pool. They said, Alexander, get out. And they said, nonverbal DOR, get out of the pool. So I went straight to the chief's office. Back then, I didn't know there's no such thing as a nonverbal DOR. What they had made me do.
Sounds like a very technical term that they made up.
And at the time, I was so stunned and like had no clue what had just happened. He said, sign this sheet for nonverbal DOR. And I signed it, gave it back to him, which is where I messed up. There's no such thing as a nonverbal DOR. They had pulled me out of the pool and made me sign or not made me. I still blame myself, but I signed the DOR sheet, and the next thing you know, I was at re-rating. Before I knew it, it was a tough week for me. I just sat in my room. I was like a vegetable. I just sat there, and I knew that I was still going to be in the Navy. I said, what is my job going to be now for the next 4 years? My whole life had changed in a matter of 5 minutes.
I've heard stories like that, and I not having been there, but looking back on it, could that been actually a test per se to see what you were going to do when they said, hey, just sign this?
Probably so. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they do random things with students all the time. And I guess they had seen something in me, like you either could have kept pushing in the pool and got your head above water, or sank to the bottom and let us come get you, or something. I don't know. I guess they just wanted me. They didn't think I should have been in the pipeline. So they ruled me out. And still to this day, the reason why, referring back to our initial conversation about the Hudson River swim, the reason why I wanted to challenge myself is because still to this day, I have not had an experience like that before, the fear of drowning in the water. And I wanted to retest myself and conquer that with the Hudson River swim. And initially, the first mile was the toughest for me. Remember I said I thought I was going to drown twice. I was overtaken by a wave, and you're out there, you have no control over the ocean, you have no control over the environment. But me just gutting it out and saying, fuck this, I'm going to push through and I'm going to finish this swim.
Is that swim in a wetsuit or just trunks?
It was just trunks.
Yeah. So you've got no built-in buoyancy?
No built-in buoyancy, no. So yeah, we did the swim, and to me it was a big accomplishment, because to me it was kind of burying that feeling of fear of the water. And I feel like now I can jump in the ocean and swim just fine. For me, one of the things that I was telling myself is the ocean is rough on top of the water, but if you go under, it won't be as rough. So every stroke I took, I was doing the combat size stroke. I was going under the water and just cruising. And then I would control my breathing, come up, breathe again, go under the water. And for me, the other 3 miles of the water was my friend that day.
And it also had to be huge for you to get past that, somebody telling you, we perceived you as quitting, when in your head you hadn't quit.
Yeah, it was. I knew I had no control over it after the fact, but that was it destroyed my confidence for a lot of ways, a lot of reasons. And when I got to the re-rater, I picked MA, went to MAA school, and I was thinking, y'all don't know how easy you got it here. The PT was twice a week as opposed to twice a day in dive training. And I was thinking, this is a breeze. I said, maybe when I get out to the fleet, it'll be a little harder. I got to Bahrain, and the physical aspect, it was a breeze. The mental aspect was a breeze. It sucked sometimes because it was really hot and the hours were long, but everything else was a breeze. So everything everything in the Navy that I experienced, I compared to dive training and how hard it was. So it made everything else a breeze.
One of the things that I want to touch on for this podcast as a whole is obviously the mental health, but also the physical health of whenever you get to your transition, try to be the best you can be. And my experience is law enforcement. For many officers, once they get out of the academy, the drive to stay physically fit drops, because very few agencies demand that same level of fitness as when you're in the academy. When you're not in a special forces type environment in the military, is it kind of the same way where fitness just becomes more, if you're going to be fit, it's going to be on you, not on the Navy?
For sure. Yep. 100%. And that's not good, because I don't think they should force fitness on people. I just think if you don't have that initial spark to work out, then it's really hard to get the Navy to instill that in you, because with Navy PT, you're not always going to be doing what you like to do. I always encourage people to do what you like to do, something active. If it's yoga, okay. If it's soccer, cool. Basketball, lifting, CrossFit, running, whatever you like to do, find an interest in some physical activity and let it take over.
Moving forward in the Navy, you're now Master at Arms.
Master at Arms.
At that point, are you now starting to think, basically starting to look at the calendar like, I just can't wait to get out of here? Or were you starting to, was it something that you were going to stick with and maybe potentially go longer with it?
I never looked at the second enlistment until it got there. So I was just focused on consuming and learning. I said, okay, well, I'm in this realm now. I'm going to do the best I can. I'll be the best MA that I can. And I was just consuming, learning, because it was a completely new aspect for me. I was learning OC spray weapons, laws. I was learning everything about being a patrolman and detaining suspects, apprehensions.
So MA in the Navy is basically their military police?
Yes, it is. MAA school is the groundwork, what you need to be a basic master at arms law enforcement.
And when you're an MAA or a master at arms, what are your typical duties, or what did you have to do?
So my job for the first 6 months was pretty typical. It was ATF, Anti-Terrorism Force Protection, ATFP. And that's what it was classified as. That's what it was classified as in Bahrain. So we went to Bahrain and we were basically standing post. That was our job. And they had caught wind that I had came out of dive and I was a decent swimmer. And I already had my level 2 swim qualification. So they said, we need some guys over at Harbor. So Harbor snatched me up, and that's where I found my roots. I loved the water, of being on top of the water. And I loved driving the boats. I had the freedom to kind of patrol around instead of just standing in one spot on the dry side.
So let's go into your venture into YouTube.
Yes.
Or social media, because you started this obviously while you were active in the military.
Yes.
What was the motivation or the catalyst to start posting your daily life online?
So back in high school, I don't think I mentioned this, but I mentioned the entrepreneur aspect. And back then I was thrown into this class called current events. And the teacher was, this is flashback to 2008. Teacher said, well, to be honest, they just gave me this class to teach to you guys. I'm not sure what to teach about. I don't know what we're going to do. And I raised my hand. I said, how about we produce a weekly show where we talk about the news and politics and opinion and weather and broadcast it to the school? And she said, well, that's a great idea. So I invested like maybe $200 in a little JVC Avera. I'm pretty sure my mother bought it for me. But I taught myself to film and edit. And I absolutely loved presenting for the class because they were all looking at me. Every time I would put something funny in there, it was me. It was me. I was controlling the emotion of the class, whether it's laughing, whether it's interesting. I just loved that. I absolutely loved it. And that sparked my interest in video. When I got to Bahrain, I had no money management skills. I was in a lot of debt. And I remember buying a GoPro Hero 4 on a credit card. Pretty sure it maxed my credit card out, but I started kind of reimagining and recapturing that spark of my interest in video. So I started making these little edits of Jarrah Island and Dubai. And from there, I upgraded to a Canon T6. I'm giving you the long versions of everything today. Hopefully that's all right.
That's fine.
We're going on 55 minutes. Good. We're going to push this to 6 hours. Okay.
Okay.
So audience, go ahead and strap in. It's going to be a wild ride.
It's going to be a 6-part episode.
Yes. You could break it up in 30 minutes and do 12 episodes. Episode 12, Austen Alexander. But
screw everybody up and do it out of order.
Episode 10 first. So with that little, GoPro and then Canon that I had gotten, I started to create these little vlog type videos. And I probably created 3 or 4. I didn't really put a super amount of time in there, but it allowed me to produce without going out and spending a lot of money on this and that. It was just kind of my thing that I kept. Some of the times I wouldn't even show the videos to people. I would just like to edit them. It allowed me to express creativity. And when I got on the ship, everybody was pushing me to get my service pin and my air warfare pin. And I'm thinking, well, if I did get out of the Navy, how would this benefit me? Because you have to spend like 40, 50 hours plus to get that, studying, testing, boarding. You have to spend a lot of time to get those pins. At the time, I had no pins. And whether I was going to stay in or not, I didn't really care about having pins. Everybody was just gung-ho about on the Navy, on the ship. Got to get your pin, got to get your pin. You can get information dominance, air warfare, and surface warfare. And to me, I had brought that little camera. And I said, well, we're going to go out in port. We're going to get some cool footage. I'm going to photo you guys. I'm going to take pictures and take videos of you guys and everything. It's going to be a great video. And at the end of the 7 months, I had produced a 7-minute video, just 1 7-minute video. Posted it on Facebook. I think it got a couple hundred shares. Everybody in the comments were like, oh, you should post this on YouTube. You should post it on YouTube. And at the time, this was 2015. And I was thinking.
You did all the footage, all the editing, everything on board the ship?
Yes. I went to the media department and got some footage from them that I couldn't get, like aboard helicopters and drone footage and everything. And I went to the MC, Mass Communications, and I was in there. I was like, oh, what do you use to edit with? Premiere Pro? Can I get I got a copy of Premiere Pro. They bootlegged it and put it on my computer. And my interest in video was just rapidly expanding. You know, I was trying to get different angles, this, that, and I had to go down the 7th deck of the ship and do the voiceovers for the video so I can explain what's going on. I had built and scripted this story and kind of told our story of deployment. Probably 2 or 3 months later after deployment, I did post it on YouTube.
Did you have a goal in mind when you set out to do a project that big, or was it just something just to take your mind off being on a ship?
It was something to take my mind off the debt I was in and the ship and just the other stressors that were in my lifetime at the time. I don't want to say like, oh, I was super depressed, super anxious at the time, because I wasn't. You know, I was having fun on deployment. I was meeting new people. I was having a good time. But at all times, some of us do have those underlying issues that we're facing. Like for me at the time, it was the debt and being separated from family and things like that.
But I would imagine even on a huge ship, it's got to feel isolated.
Very. You see the same people every single day. And it helps because they're going through the same exact thing that you are, you know, so you can kind of really find a really strong bond. That's where that strong military bond comes from, is being in sucky situations at the same time, you know, dealing with it and just having each other to lean on. And that's what we did. You know, I had a group, probably 5 or 6 friends. I'd see them at chow. I'd wake up. I knew exactly what to expect. I was going to get in line for chow. I was going to see Francisco, LaRocco, Tony at breakfast. And then I was going to go on shift. And then I was going to see the same people at lunch and same people at dinner, same people in gym. So yeah, we were all going through it and dealing with the stress of deployment. But at the same time, it was kind of fun.
So the first video is out on YouTube.
Yes.
Then what was the catalyst to then start posting more videos to YouTube?
So when I had gotten back from deployment, we were going to do a training in, it wasn't Reno. What's it called? There's a city beside Reno, Fallon, Nevada. There's like nothing there except an air base. So my strike fighter squadron deployed there or went there on a detachment so the pilots can train. And I was a master at arms, so I was attached to admin. They didn't really have a job for me. So they just said, okay, you're barracks patrol. You just patrol the barracks, make sure they're clean. And the base already had a cleanup crew. So we would clock in about 8 o'clock after their cleanup crew had come by, and we'd be like, well, there's nothing here. And then we would just leave.
All done.
Yes. It was a lot of fun. And remember, I told you I'm giving you the long way. So this is where I met Sarah. But a few of the friends were gung-ho about just going to Reno and partying. They said, this is Vegas, Nevada. We can get strippers. We can go to the casino. And I said, okay. I was fresh out of a breakup because the previous girlfriend cheated on me on deployment. And so there we were. We were in Reno. And
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know. Well, I only like Reno now because I met Sarah there.
Got it.
You know, it's kind of a bland place if you're not into gambling, you know. So we go to this place called the Eddy, and I was probably about 11 or 12 beers deep, feeling good, feeling great, good mindset. You know, even though I was charging everyone
adding more
beers,
debt to your
exactly, yeah, just not caring. And my friend said, "I want you to go up to the prettiest girl in here." I said, "Okay." I looked around, and I just see this blonde girl in this romper, and she was just staring at me, and I was thinking, what is this girl staring at? Is she going to kill me or what? And kind of glanced off, and then I glanced back again. She was just staring at me, just giving me this look. So I approached her. I said, "What are you looking at?" And part of me just wanted to go over there and talk to her, you know, because I thought she looked good and whatnot. Immediately, she was like, she was wooed by me, of course, because I'm pretty smooth with the ladies. But she was just.
If she could only fast forward and see the handlebar mustache picture.
I know,
from
she would not have been with me. But she was pretty drunk too. And we were just kind of feeling each other, and she was running her hands on my chest and all this stuff. We got into good conversation, and I got her number and played it cool. And how did I get on this topic? You asked me one question, and I'm giving you the long
on your own
form.
path. I'm just along for the ride.
Okay, good. So that's when I lost my virginity. No, I'm just kidding. So, I kept in contact with Sarah, and she was a travel nurse at the time, making decent money in Reno. And I had gotten orders to Seal Beach, California, right after VFA 2 in Lemoore. So I told Sarah, I said, come visit me in Seal Beach. So she did. She visited me 3 or 4 times. And we got hung up on the idea of her becoming a travel nurse in California. She's like, I would love to do that. The money is a lot more great there. We can, we can move in as roommates. Our plan was to move in together, have a 2-bed, 2-bath, her own separate thing, my own separate thing. And then we kind of just kept talking, and then we officially became a thing, because that's what the kids like to do nowadays. They like to put a label on it. So we put a label on it, even though we were both head over heels for each other. And at the time, when I first moved to Seal Beach, I was living with 2 females, which she was completely fine with, because we were all sharing the house and saving a lot of our housing allowance. We were getting like $3,100 a month, and I was paying.
All of you military?
Yes. And I was paying like $800 a month in rent. So we were saving a pretty good penny. And when Sarah got a job, and she's like, well, I'm coming to California. And she was originally going to get her own apartment. And I said, well, that's stupid. Why can't we just move in together? Because we're already a thing. And so I told them, I said, look, I'm out of the lease. They just let me walk away. So Sarah and I found a 2-bed, 2-bath condo on Pine Street in Long Beach, California. And we moved in. And I was still.
The rest is history.
Well, the rest is history with Sarah. Yeah. Still deal with her every single day. You guys may see her in a few minutes if she comes down.
I'm sure if we talk to her, it's completely opposite. She has to deal with you every day.
Well, yeah, I guess so. Yeah, but she can't live a day without me, unfortunately. I'm just kidding. That's where I was settled down in Seal Beach, California. Well, we lived in Long Beach, but I worked in Seal Beach. Drove about 25 minutes to work every day. I was in Harbor Patrol unit. Life was good. I was getting paid decent money with the housing allowance. I think Sarah and I both paid $1,100 a month. I was getting an additional $2,000 a month from BAH. And that's when I started to pay, like $500-$600 a month down on my credit card. To keep in mind, I had 2 credit cards maxed out at about $20,000. And I said, this is not fast enough. At this rate, it's going to take me 4 years to pay off this credit card. And 100 of that was going towards, or probably 200 of that was going towards interest every single month. It was just swallowing me whole. So Sarah, being with Sarah, she was really good with her money. She, like, if she got $1,000, she'd be like, oh, I don't have anything to do with it. She wouldn't spend it. She would just toss it in the bank. So
sounds like you needed that in your life. Exactly.
Seeing Sarah be so well managed with her money, and seeing her so well put together, she took care of herself. She was really into fitness. She worked out. She's a travel nurse. She had, bachelor's degree, just this well-developed young woman. It made me want to be, I said, I really want to be with this girl, but right now I'm garbage. Like, what do I have? Nothing. I'm broke. I'm not really motivated and dedicated. But at the time I was going to the gym, but that was about it. Didn't really teach myself. I had the physical part, but I lacked the mental part. And in Seal Beach, California, that's where my life completely changed.
Not to drive this as an insult, but it's going to sound like it's an insult. You needed somebody in your life who gave you maturity. It sounds like.
Yep. Because I was coming off the single life. I was partying, drinking, spending my money, just being ignorant and immature with the way I handled myself. And being with Sarah, it kicked me in the rear end. I mean, not just because I wanted to be better, but because she made me better. She'd be like, get off your ass and go in there and do something.
So was she a catalyst or a motivator for you to start doing more on YouTube?
Yes. That was the original question. That's how I'm getting to it. Yeah, she was definitely.
Well, it was, 3 hours ago, so I forgot what the original question was.
Right? So she was the reason. Yeah. When I had first met her, I showed her that deployment video. She's like, she was just completely dumbfounded. She's like, you made that? That's so good. Like, she was just completely in disbelief. She didn't know I was in debt at the time. I was not going to tell her that because I thought she would leave.
Does she know now?
She knows. Okay. Now I've talked about this freely.
Because we could edit it out of the podcast if you need to.
No. We're good. We're good. You can keep 100% of this. And I was on nights. She was on days. So she would be sleeping when I was off of work. I would be in there on the computer, research it. How do I do this? How do I make more of an income? How do I become better? Taught myself about finances, APRs, interest rates, cash flow, passive income, active income, like everything. Started reading books, and I just kicked into overdrive. And 3 months later, I had established my own LLC for social media marketing. I'd taken a course, learned the ins and outs of social media marketing, and I was going door to door trying to sell these services to people. And before you knew it, I had landed a huge real estate firm. I was in their office having a meeting with them, selling them a $10,000 per month package that I was going to provide for them. So
doing all of their social media.
Doing the social media, running traffic from Facebook and Instagram ads, Snapchat ads onto a landing page and collecting hot leads for their real estate, purchasing real estate. And before, 3 months, that's why I don't like college now, because you have to learn at their pace. If you're motivated and you want to learn at your own pace, you're going to teach yourself something overnight. You can teach yourself a skill in a month if you wanted. And in college, for me, and I've found that out now, is I was learning so slow and I just wasn't caring about the topic. I was not motivated to learn. It was like pulling teeth every time I went to college. But when I was motivated to learn about something, I taught myself all this stuff in a matter of 3 months. I went from not knowing anything about digital marketing or finances, anything. I had taken 3 months, established my own LLC, did it all myself, filed the paperwork with Secretary of State, California, learned about accounting, bookkeeping, all this stuff.
Do you still have that company today?
Yes. And that's this is the good part.
Every part's been good so far.
Thank you very much.
It's going to be better.
I appreciate that. Yeah, it gets better. Because so far the story's been kind of depressing. I almost lost my leg. I was in a lot of debt, but now this is where we're almost at the climax, so. I
feel like I'm on a roller coaster.
Good. Well, here's another low part. I walked in there. There were like 7 or 8 big people from Coldwell Banker, Long Beach, and they just started grilling me with questions. They said, "Have you tried to sell these services to anybody else?" I said, "Nope." They said, "Would you?" And I was like, "Well, if another real estate agent firm came by, I would probably sell them another package." And they said, "Okay, see you later." I walked out. I wasn't the greatest at meetings and pitching yet, because I was selling a service,
So did they want to hear that you were only going to work for them?
Yes. Yeah. And after that, I went into depressed mode again. I said, all right, back to square one. What am I going to do? Keep in mind, I had this video up on YouTube that was performing kind of well. I wasn't really monitoring it every day, but it was kind of, getting views. I enjoyed, I didn't check in on it for like 6 or 7 months, but I enjoyed reading the comments when I did catch up to it and whatnot. So I finally landed a client. It was a rehab client. I was running his Facebook ads, and I had, made $500 or $600 additional per month that I could put towards this credit. So it gave me a little bit of momentum. And it was a bad experience with him as well, because we weren't able to get him leads. Facebook kicked us off the program because you're not supposed to sell to people that need rehabilitation from alcohol. And so kicked me off, bad experience with him. I said, man, I don't want to do this anymore. So I started looking to the stock market, taught myself about stocks, options, everything. I started trading here and there, penny stocks, whatever. And I was thinking, well, I need to be earning money. I don't need to be risking it. So
just a little step backwards. So you've started an LLC doing social media advertising.
Yes.
How many years are you into the military at this point?
4.
Yep. Does the potential of having to be deployed and away from your business have an impact on how much effort you're putting into that business?
No, because for the next 3 years, I knew I was going to be in Seal Beach, California. I was on shore duty.
Okay.
There was no potential of me deploying. So I knew I was locked in. And that gave me the confidence in the driving factor to say, okay, I got 3 years. I'm going to make something out of myself, And keep in mind, I wasn't really interested in social media marketing for other people. It was just something that I thought I could help increase my revenue. But what I was truly interested in was the video. I did it for free in high school. I loved every minute of it. I wasn't getting paid a dime from YouTube, but I still uploaded that video because I wanted to share it with people. So Sarah, one night I was sitting in there. I think she had woken up to drink water because she drinks like 6 gallons of water a day. She woke up to drink water. She's like, "What are you doing?" I was sitting there. I was thinking. I was writing thoughts down. She's like, "You know what you need to be doing? You need to be going in there and you need to make a YouTube video. You like making videos, upload them, share them with people." And I said, "You know what? You're right." So I immediately went in there and I recorded a video. I didn't know what I was going to talk about. I just started blabbing. I ended up cutting a part of the video and titling it, "Should You Join the Military?" And I posted it. And at the time, I realized I almost had 1,000 subscribers on the YouTube platform.
Just from the first single video?
Yeah, from the video, because it was I think at about 200,000 views at the time. And I think I had posted some more like intermittently, like maybe one, 7 months later, another one, like a month later, another one. But on August 18th, 2018, I started posting to YouTube consistently. I started formulating my ideas and making videos about everything. And that year, I think between October to midway through December, I made 40 videos in 40 days. I became obsessed with it.
But you're always focusing on an aspect of being in the military, correct?
Yes, always. Yeah. And well, I would throw some fitness things in there that I would just uploaded what I want when I wanted. You know, if it was about eating, if it was about drinking tea, I would do that. Weren't the best videos, but I enjoy the editing process, the color grading, the text, the fonts, the musics. And it was a good time. I was having a lot of fun with it. And by the end of 2018, I had gotten a request from Google AdSense. They're like, "Hey, you can start to get paid from YouTube now. Do you want to get paid?" I said, "Sure." They said, "Okay, here's your first check." And they sent me a check, $32.
Rolling.
I know. I was like, you can get paid from YouTube? Like, I didn't know a whole lot about YouTube. I would just know how to click upload.
Arby's was on you.
I know, right? $32. I could have gotten about, 50 sandwiches. And so I just kept creating the videos, and I started talking to other YouTubers. Like there was Donnie Klein and Nikki MGTV. He's like, "Hey, if you want to, do this, do that to optimize your video." It was just slow process of optimizing. And in April 2019, less than a year later, it was about 8 months later, I had uploaded a video, and I thought before I produced it, I said, let's combine my interest with fitness with military. And I had Miss Bikini Olympia, her name was Ashley. She was a friend of mine. And I said, "Hey, let's do the Navy physical readiness test." I created it. I edited it. Great production. I posted it to YouTube, and it was just like another video for 2 weeks, just like another video. And I had a habit of waking up and checking my analytics. That's how in tune with YouTube I was. I was completely obsessed with it. After 70 videos in a short amount of time, I'd posted 70 videos before that morning. I woke up and Miss Bikini Olympia video had went viral. I think it got like 2 or 3 million views overnight. And I had news, people reaching out to me right this minute news, NBC LA, Muscle and Fitness, Men's Health, Women's Health. You had Business Insider was reaching out, and it just, after 70 videos, I had my first big banger, and all of my analytics on my channel were straight up in the air, including the earnings. And I was like, wait a minute. I said, I just earned $200 overnight from this one video. And I was like, that's great. I said, if I can do that every day, earn
$200. Oh, you're setting yourself for a trap though. Because, you're never going to get that same result every single time. I mean that facetiously.
You're absolutely right. Yeah. But with a catalog of videos, it's like a jump. That bottoms out on YouTube becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. And somebody commented, they said, "Hey man, you don't have any ads in this video. You need to enable some mid-roll ads and some skippable video ads and everything." I was just enabling banner ads. There are 5 types of ads on YouTube. So that $200 was coming from one type of ad. So I got on there. I researched more about how to make more money on YouTube. I enabled all of those ads. And for the next day, I think I had $3,000 or $4,000 day just from that one video. And I was like thinking, man, this is crazy. Maybe there is a potential that I can start to do this more and optimize the video and really start having a production team, you know, or like an editing team, and just building and building. And so I took concepts from that video. I applied them to my next video, CrossFitters. Well, I think it was U.S. Marine attempts the Navy physical readiness test. Just kind of emulating the video, but somewhat duplicating it, but making it different. So I posted that video, and that video took off as well. And I had all my ads set, and video hit 1 million views. I think I earned $3,000 or $4,000 from it. I said, well, this is great. I was still dropping kind of, they call it hub content or vlog content, where I'd be like, I went to Walmart and I'm drinking a tea. And then there were these hero banger videos that were earning, you know, 2, 3, 4K a piece. And that was in 2019. I think, by the midway through 2019, I had paid off every single bit of that $20,000 debt.
Very good.
It was such a happy moment for me. I still have the screenshot. Such a happy moment for me. It felt like this depressing cloud had been lifted off of me, and it all came from doing what I like to do. Because after 70 videos, it took me 70 videos to get that hit. And if I didn't like video, if I didn't have an interest in it, I would have quit after 5.
Leading up to those 70 videos, what were your analytics like prior to that?
Kind of like this, you know, I was growing because a lot more people will subscribe than unsubscribe. People rarely unsubscribe unless they really hate what you say in a video. But I was just having fun with it. You know, I was making a day in my life, you know, as a bodybuilder, or because at the time I was competing for prepping for a bodybuilding show. Just what I eat in a day, best ab exercises, military boots, just topics that I can think about. And it's impossible to think of extremely quality content when you're rolling them out that soon. So some videos would do decent, some videos wouldn't. And then it was just kind of like this. And it wasn't until that one video, Miss Bikini Olympia video, brought eyes to my channel. A lot more videos started boosting, and began to build that revenue roller coaster, you know, and throughout 2019, the bottoms got even higher. You know, even as the revenue kind of bottomed out, I was still earning $200-$300 a day.
If somebody's thinking about going this route, they haven't done it yet, or maybe they've got, you know, 1 or 2 videos up. It sounds like, though, you want to make sure, or you want to focus on topics that have an interest to you and that you have a passion for, as opposed to trying to mimic what everybody else is doing. Correct?
For sure. There are a lot of YouTubers that mimic each other, and a lot of them do well doing that. But if I'm sitting here and I'm talking about shoes, I'm not a shoe guy. Like, I don't have an interest in shoes. But if I'm making a YouTube channel about shoes, because I think it's going to earn me money, I'm going to be dead inside doing it. So you really have to do something that just gets you going. People feed off of your energy in every video. So if I'm excited about fitness, I love fitness. It changed my life. So when I'm in front of the camera and I'm working out, I'm like, we're going to work out today. We're going to inspire, we're going to motivate, and we're going to get this accomplished in front of your eyes, ladies and gentlemen. So stay tuned. Check it out. Like,
How rewarding was it to get those random comments that you were actually motivating people?
That's the biggest thing that kept pushing me forward. I said, these people like the content. I'm going to keep pushing it out. I'm just going to be myself. That was before the Miss Bikini Olympia video, you know. When I made that video, I was getting so many more, like, I live in Spain. I got out and I ran 2 miles this morning because I watched this video last night. It was just like a worldwide thing. I was getting so many comments, and it felt great knowing that I could have a profound effect on somebody in somebody's life, especially if I was just getting them into the fitness realm. I knew how it helped me in the past. I knew how it made me feel, and I wanted to make others feel like that too.
Now, I know you said that we were coming out of the bad parts, but there's actually some negative from this, in the sense that it had an impact on your military career. Not in a completely negative, but it had a negative impact.
For the most part, yeah. I mean, I would say it's taking time away from collaterals that I could potentially be having, you know. But at the time, you know, in 2019, halfway through 2020, I didn't see myself. Well, I didn't see myself staying in. I was kind of on the fence. I was like, well, I could stay in or I could get out, whatever. But yeah, it started to, I made videos that were very high gravity. I was in, just like I was a trainer in the Navy, I was a command fitness leader, CFL. So I would apply that to the athletes. Since I was doing it in a non-military capacity, that's where there was some sticky area. My chain of command feared that the Navy could get sued if somebody like had a heart attack or whatever. And it wasn't like I was putting them through a 4-mile Hudson Bay swim. They were just doing some push-ups. They were just doing 1.5-mile run. They were just doing 15 sit-ups. And I didn't see, because everybody I surrounded myself with were my friends, Miss Bikini Olympia, U.S. Marine. I had made all these friends in different branches of service, and we were just out having fun.
But from the Navy's perspective, they were thinking about strictly from the liability aspect.
Yes, liability, and they feared that people would think I was speaking from the military standpoint, speaking for the military, for the Navy. And I was real professional in it wasn't like I was going and doing drugs in my off time or just drinking and getting drunk. I was very well put together, pretty much how I was. I was disciplined in fitness. My mental game was right. Had a clear head, and I was just trying to portray it to other people and athletes in the videos. And where it got sticky was you're earning revenue. And I had sponsored videos on my channel, not in uniform. And NCIS, somebody had called and reported that I was earning money off the military uniform. And they dug into it. They did some research, blah, blah, blah. And they said, we're just seeing if it's allowed that you're earning money from brands on your YouTube channel with the uniform in different YouTube videos. Because for me, I was told that keep all brands out of stuff that you have military gear in, which I did. But on the other part, I had a sponsored video with random companies that would sponsor a video.
But was the military making a connection from that video back to a different video that you happened to be in?
They were trying
uniform?
to. They were trying to. Yeah. And for me, the social media ethics and handbook, I was in the clear zone. But then they kind of drew back and they said, wait, we don't know if you're in the clear zone. Let's NCIS inspect this. So for 2 weeks, I was under investigation for NCIS. And I guess what they were going to do is try to take money back from me that I had earned on YouTube. I don't really know. But I wasn't really worried about it. It's not like I was spending the money. I was so scared of money at the time. I just knew I'd paid off the debt, and that's it. And the rest of the money was just sitting there. I wasn't going out. I wasn't buying clothes, Lamborghinis, all this other kind of stuff. So I wasn't that nervous about it. I even made a video while I was investigated by the Navy. I think it was a little after the investigation. But what had happened was CHINFO, Chief of Information, he's overall head of content that rolls out for the Navy, America's Navy, All Hands Magazine, and at U.S. Navy. Admiral Charlie Brown, great guy, really, really nice man. He came to Seal Beach. And my chain of command told me, hey, you have a post inspection by the admiral. You can be taking him underway. You can be driving. You can be coxswain. And I was saying, oh, shoot. Okay. Because you had to be on your P's and Q's. You had to know your post briefs. You had to know everything. And so the admiral shows up, and we're all in ranks, salute, greeting him and whatnot. He said, hey, thanks, everybody. I'm just here to see MA2 Alexander. And I'm thinking, oh, my goodness, I'm going to get kicked out of the Navy. He's going to roast me. He said front and center. So I went up there. He shook my hand. He said, MA2, I just want to say I absolutely love your videos. They're one of the most inspiring, motivating. He said, I even watch all the fitness stuff. It's great. He said, and the way you're portraying the Navy is in a positive light. He said, it's a great thing. He said, I think it's good for recruiting. I think it's good for you. I think it's good for the whole Navy. And he gave me the Admiral Challenge coin, and he said, I just appreciate it, and keep it up, keep rolling out the videos. And when he left, an hour later, the LT that was investigating me from NCIS, he said, hey, investigation's off, you're good. And we were just, had to pause some things and whatnot. So it took the admiral to tell NCIS to calm down and said everything was okay with my content.
At any point in time, though, did you feel like you weren't getting support from the military to keep doing what you were doing?
Well, it wasn't their job to support me at all. It was my own thing. I was doing it in my own time. You know, every time I filmed, I would either be off, or it would be on a weekend, or it would be 30 minutes before I clocked into work. Sometimes I would use the whiteboard at work, and it wasn't their job to support me at all. This was an independent venture that I was going on. I just saw a gap between military and the civilian side, and I kind of provided an inside look through my videos, and that's why people like to watch them.
When you started getting more popular, did you ever feel like the Navy was trying to exploit you and what you had done through your own work for their benefit?
Towards the end, yeah, there were a few Master Chiefs that were asking me, hey, would you do this? Would you do that? Would you post on your social medias about recruiting? Would you all this stuff? And I did a few times. You know, I did some interviews with Navy SEAL in space captain, did a few interviews, did a Reddit post, you know, so I was helping them out a little. You know, I would work with them. It's not like I was saying, Navy, stay away from me, but then making Navy content. So we would mesh, you know, together. And for a long time, they wanted me to re-rate as an MC and be a spokesperson and do like a series with the Navy on YouTube to help recruiting purposes. But I didn't want to do that because I knew that a video that I created would get cut down and not approved, and it would go into this jumble of what I produced not being what was released. And I didn't want any part in that.
So ultimately you never wanted to give up control of what you were creating.
Exactly. Yeah. Because I was in charge of the approval process. I just knew things that I couldn't do or say on behalf of the Navy. And I knew all that. So, I mean, I could shoot a video, edit it the next day, and have it out the next morning without any approval beside my own.
If you had wanted to stay in, would it have been possible for you to balance your military career and continue to grow on YouTube? Do you think?
I think so. Yeah, it would have. I wouldn't be able to produce as often because back then I was uploading 2-3 times a week, you know, maybe like, and the videos were very mediocre. It wasn't until like maybe once a month or once every 3 months that I would drop a banger challenge video, you know, and now I'm able to do that pretty frequently. I can shoot once a week and roll a video out 3 or 4 times a month.
So it's not necessarily the content that per se would be an issue. It's just the amount of free time that you would have to dedicate to grow your business.
Exactly. And back then, you know, the Navy always came first. If they called me in for something, I would ultimately do that. But the YouTube stuff, it cut into my sleep a lot, which was expected. But I mean, I would get it done by any means. That's why I had these bags under my eyes. I know you guys are probably like, what are those bags? It's from not sleeping for 7 years in the Navy or for 5 years, you know.
So for somebody who is active and they're thinking about going down this path, what are your top 5 tips for becoming whether you want to refer to it as a social media creator or just a YouTuber, but what would be your top 5 tips?
I prefer the term digital content creator.
Okay.
Because when folks hear social media creator or YouTuber, they think I'm going out there and throwing Orbeez on my friends. I'm not doing that. I make it inspiring, motivational, fitness content. So digital media creator is what I like. But number 1, and 10, 15, 20 people this year alone have reached out to me. They say, I want to make a YouTube channel. How can I do that? They see the end result. They don't see all the hard work. They don't see meeting up with people, scheduling, budgeting. They don't see all of that for the big videos. If you have a general interest in video and you want to put yourself out there, then I'd say start to think about it. Number 2, if you know you have the drive and the determination and you're not lazy like 90% of people are, then proceed with it. And remember, every single video or every single piece of content is a new journey in social media. You could drop 100 videos that flunk. You could have one that does well, and it'll show you what people want to see from you. So the biggest factor is consistency. I know you hear that a lot, and it sounds cliche, but standardizing and then optimizing. Standardize first. Be sure you can provide the consistency, and then from there, optimize. So at the same time you're producing, you're constantly optimizing your videos. And specifically on YouTube, there's a lot to learn. I have 2 or 3 strategy sessions a week that are an hour long, just talking about AVD, CTR, watch time, everything. Be ready for that, because if you want to take on the YouTube world, you have to constantly be optimizing or your channel will die.
Or you have a management team, correct?
Yes.
Did you create that, or did you have a mentor who kind of guided you towards a management team once you got to a certain level?
So with brand deals, when I got out of the Navy, or when I was still in the Navy, I had a company come to me and say, hey, this brand Squarespace would like to work with you. And I said, okay. So you accept a rate, you produce a video, and you have the sponsored integration in it. So you bet, oh, this episode is sponsored by Febreze. Get Febreze Era, any Walmart locally, $3.27, blah, blah, blah. Click the link in the description, whatever. And
Febreze is not a sponsor for this podcast.
Yeah, Febreze is, I shouldn't have said that. But yeah, so there was an agency, a few different agencies that would bring me these deals, and they would take 20% off the top and whatnot. But I had heard about this agency called Night Media. They manage the biggest creators in the world. Mr. Beast, CHC. They have a lot of really big creators, and they were really keen with the back end of YouTube, and they have a network of people who are invincible in the media space. And I was not signed with anybody at all. And my friend Mike DeMazzo, great guy, he's in Japan still deployed. I'm not sure what squadron, but he said, he contacted Michael at Night Media. Michael Gordon had just started at Night Media, and he was good friends with Michael. He said, hey, I have a creator, he's a military and fitness creator. He does military stuff, military tests, fitness tests, extreme challenges. He said, you guys need to chat. So Michael called me up one day. He's like, hey, your content is trash. You could improve the AVD, the CTR. And back then I didn't really think about it a whole lot, but he said, yeah, I like, you got 2 videos on your channel I really, really like, and they're great, but you could do a lot better. And so I was like, well, who is this guy? We had kind of like not a great conversation.
But you got to understand, he's seeing the top of the top every day of the week.
Exactly. And that's exactly why I love it, because now I compare myself to people that are a lot bigger than me and not people in my same industry. And so I got to thinking about it. He said, if you wanted, you could take these challenge videos full time. You could be doing this full time, and it would be a great production. You could inspire a lot of people. You just have to focus on the algorithm and how to get better every video. And my YouTube channel was my baby. I didn't like people telling me how to do my videos, and I just didn't like it at the time. 2 weeks later, I called him up. I said, hey, I'd like to chat some more about what you're saying. He said, let me get you on a call with Reed, which is Jimmy's, Mr. Beast's manager, the biggest YouTuber in the entire world. Well, I say that. I think there's, he gets the most views per video than any YouTube video or YouTuber ever. Great creator, really good creator, really, really creative. And we got on a call. He said, this is how, you can help us. This is how we can help you, blah, blah, blah. And so that's when I signed with Night Media. I signed with Night Media in August of 2020. 2 years later, after I launched my YouTube channel full time, I signed with Night Media. Again,
going back to our previous comments about Sarah coming into your life and bringing that maturity. If you are serious about this, and you're not just somebody walking around with your iPhone recording your daily life, and you really want to make a business out of it, being open to having a mentor, being open to the criticism in what you've already produced, is the only, in my opinion, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, the only way you're going to grow.
For sure. Yeah. It's the same way in any business. Every single business owner had a mentor or has a mentor now, even Jeff Bezos.
So at what point would you recommend, if somebody does want to start going down this path, obviously, like you said, consistency, start producing content, but at what point would you recommend getting an actual mentor?
ASAP. As soon as you can. I was ignorant to it the first 2 years. I said, I can make a viral video. I know how to make a great video. I can do it. But there are people that can potentially be in your corner that you can talk to that are going to be honest with you and say, this video is great, this video is shitty, as soon as you can. And this goes for anything in life. Get a mentor as soon as you can. If you just need a mentor to have a conversation with you at 6 in the morning or whenever they wake up, if you want to be like somebody, if you want to be a certain way, you need to find somebody that's what you want to be like and talk to them as much as you can. Ask them to be your mentor. Be direct about it. And
kind of wrapping it up, the videos, or you've only got one episode, I believe, right now, where you went to Pennsylvania State Troopers.
Yes. I'm editing the that's what I'm about to do here very shortly.
How did that come about?
I was at the swim, the Hudson River swim, and just amongst really elite guys, great swimmers. This one guy came up to me. He said, "Hey man, I love your YouTube videos." And a lot of them did, surprisingly. And I said, "Oh, thank you very much." He said, "Let me know if you want to come to Pennsylvania State Trooper Academy and make a video about it." I said, "When can I do it?"
So they knew who you were.
Yes. Yeah. And they came up to me at the swim. Clint, really, really good guy. He's like 6'4". He's a really tall guy. I'm 6'3", but I feel like 6'4" is just massive. So he came up to me. He said, "All right, we'll make it happen. Give me your phone number. I'll reach out to you in a week." And he said, "You reached out to me in a week with the exact itinerary, what we're going to do. You're going to get tased. You're going to go driving training course. You're going to do a horse detail. You're going to do kennel. You're going to do PT, all this stuff." And he said, "We can even provide our media crew to help you capture it." I said, "Okay." So I flew out there and we got it done.
What's the future for Austen Alexander in your digital media creation?
Future is the Battle Bunker. We're going to build the best online competition series there is. I don't care about Spartan games, CrossFit games. The Battle Bunker is going to be it. We just need time to build it. We've got a few episodes that have some land out here in Moore Park, shortly moving to Texas, strictly because it's a lot cheaper. We can get more for your money out there. And we need to, obviously we have a budget because I'm producing 2 productions for my YouTube channel on the income of 1. So this year has been a struggle. We've done well in the media and the views aspect, but now I'm trying to juggle these 2 productions. So the Battle Bunker and Austen Alexander. For the future for Austen Alexander, I feel like I'll still be doing the challenges. I love doing those, and I love producing documentary style, like guerrilla style shooting. But for the Battle Bunker, it's going to be a competition series. It's going to inspire and motivate people. So instead of just me, instead of people just relying on me, the Battle Bunker is going to be a community of individuals who are driven and work hard and inspire people every day.
So the Battle Bunker will be competition amongst multiple competitors?
Yes.
As opposed to the head-to-head type competitions?
Well, head-to-head is what we're starting out on, because logistically you have to double the effort for 4 competitors. You have to triple the effort for 6 competitors. You have to quadruple, and the effort is already a lot on our plate now. Getting 2 people together on the same day at the same time is really hard.
And then you multiply that by 4, 6, 8, whatever, it gets even more difficult.
Exactly. And you're not only dealing with the competitor aspect, but you're dealing with videographer availability. Thank goodness I have Braxton here, because we can pretty much shoot whenever we want now. Usually we have an additional videographer, but yeah, that's what we're dealing with. And I'm still juggling it and producing for my YouTube channel and working with brands, and we're going to start pitching the Battle Bunker on a sponsor, I think early next year, which is going to be huge. It's going to give us the capital to make some really great episodes. And now the production quality is high enough that we can handle the production on the back end, because I do have an editing team when I need them. But every episode costs us at least about $1,500 to produce. So if we're doing 4 episodes a month, that's at least $7,000 that goes to production for the Battle Bunker. So yeah, the reason we're pitching a sponsor, because I don't want to give up equity in the Battle Bunker yet. I don't want to have anybody else manage the hearsay of how the videos are represented or produced. So yeah, that's a route we're taking early 2022.
Well, I wish you the best of luck with it.
Thank you very much.
I know your time is valuable, and I know you're extremely busy, so I thank you for...
Well, you're just bored of talking to me. I get it. You can be honest.
No, actually, Sarah's burning holes in my neck wanting to get her workout done.
Sarah's, if you guys can't see, we're in her garage. I know the backdrop looks like we're in Hollywood, but we're in Simi Valley.
Well, it's a garage in Hollywood.
Basically, yeah. Simi Valley, yeah. And Sarah's little workout spot is over there. So thank you so much for having me. I appreciate that.
I appreciate it. Just any last parting words, somebody who's active military, who's thinking about social media, but balancing both of them.
Yes. Clearly define what you can and can't do, what you can and can't post, because if you're filming the wrong thing, if you produce something that you're not supposed to produce and you release it, then you could potentially be giving the enemy information, or you can get kicked out really quick. So if you're writing the lines of making military content, a guy who does it well, Sam Ekholm, if you want to look him up, look at his current stuff. He does stuff in uniform all the time. He's like on base, like looking at a tank or something like that. He does it well. He doesn't earn revenue from it, but he does well. So I recommend watching that channel if you want any current advice or guidance, or reach out to him if you're doing that, because it can get very sticky. It can be a lot of gray areas that you don't exactly know if you can or can't produce there. So just be careful. A lot of the regulations are changing, and those gray areas are now red areas. So just be current with the social media ethics, and you'll be okay.
I appreciate it. Appreciate your time.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me, Paul.
I appreciate you watching. But before you go, if you like the video, please hit that subscribe button. Also, any comments are appreciated. Thank you.